Hi, I'm Don. Today we're going to prep and prime this behemoth of a model from CMON Games. A ton of thanks to CMON Asia Pacific and Gaming Library in helping us acquire this huge model.
Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my studio.
This channel is supported by these brands. Oh, by the way, my daughter Nico just finished her huge Gunpla diorama. So if you're into Gunpla or Gunpla diorama, do check out her channel. I'll put the link below. Now back to the Cthulhu. This huge model is by CMON Games and I think it's vinyl. Anyways, we're going to prep and prime it today. This is painting for Geekolodeon Studios. The wings come separate from the model, and if you place it at the back of the model, I think it's because of the shipping or whatsoever, it's a bit warped and it doesn't really perfectly align to the back of the model. So after gluing the wings, I kinda got like a huge gap, especially on the right wing, so we have to fill it up. We will be using Procreate. You could also use green stuff, which are practically the same except the color is different. Also, we're going to use Vallejo plastic putty. I really like Procreate and it's very similar to green stuff. You just have to knead both parts together and you have a working time of around 10 maybe 15 minutes. I'm not really sure, but you have to wet your fingers and you have to wet the tools that you're using to apply this material because it's very tacky. And if you don't wet it, it kinda dries as you work with it. By wetting it, it's going to be more workable, a bit longer as you wet the material. I really enjoy filling huge gaps like this because I have to kinda sculpt the skin and imitate the skin of the model. And most of you know, or at least the longtime subscribers know, that my dream job is to be a sculptor. But my dad did not allow me to take up sculpture in college because he said there's no money in sculpting. But then again, it's still my dream job to this day. So I hope to actually do sculpting and painting at the same time for this channel as soon as I can. I had to need a couple of batches for this one because the wings have huge gaps and the model is so big. The Procreate cures to a rubbery plastic material. It's really nice. It's perfect for action figures. Now we have to refine the edges of this Procreate with Vallejo plastic putty. The Vallejo plastic putty is water-based, so that's kinda new in a way since I'm a Gunpla modeler since I don't know when, 2008. So I'm used to like the lacquer-based putty. It's practically the same, there's a bit of shrinkage. The only difference is that the Vallejo putty is water-based. Being water-based is nice because you just need water to clean up the brush, or you can even thin it down with water if need be so that you have like a thinner putty if you're doing really fine work. Also, since the plastic putty is water-based, you can apply it over primer. It won't harm the Vallejo primer. You could even apply it after you've painted the model if you see like a last minute correction or a gap or whatsoever. You could apply it over the Vallejo paints and it won't harm the paints. Oh, and the putty dries into a very hard plastic finish. Now we use Vallejo Mecha Black Primer. This is my fave primer of them all. This is the most durable primer that Vallejo has in the market today. We are using my 0.4 Harder & Steenbeck Colani airbrush. This is an awesome airbrush, especially for this project because this is a huge model and we need a huge airbrush to paint this model. This Colani airbrush even has a 0.8 needle and I tried it, but it's too much. It's like spitting out paints at a really fast rate, and I don't need a needle that big. If you're a beginner, you might ask, why do people or miniature painters always paint with black primer first? Well, basically, black primer has the best coverage, also the hard to reach areas. If you paint with the gray or the colors already, you could actually like totally neglect painting those hard to reach areas in a way, and those will like represent shadows, at least in my opinion. That's why the most time consuming part of painting a model is the black primer, because you really, at least for me, I really have to paint all of the details and all of the crevices, so that once I paint the actual colors or the next color, which is in this case the gray primer mixed with a bit of black, so that we have a darker gray primer, it will remain black, the some of the crevices, and it will give us a nice contrast. It will actually give us nice volume. While painting the black primer, I actually had to flip the model upside down so that I was able to paint all the crevices underneath the model or the undersides of the model. And then once everything is black, it's going to be easier from here onwards, because now we're painting with dark gray, and I'm going for a zenithal look. A zenithal look is like it's simulating a light source, which is in this case the light source will be on top. So we don't need to flip the model again to be able to paint the undersides. We'll just keep it like dark grayish black, and we're just painting mostly the top areas of the model. This will simulate a natural lighting look, wherein the source of light is coming from the top. You could actually paint the model already with the airbrush after the black primer, but I decided to paint with a zenithal underpainting because I wanted to see all of the details of the model, and I'm still like undecided on how to paint this model. Oh, by the way, the pressure of my airbrush is around 30-ish psi. I know it's really hard, it's really strong, because I want to really push paints really hard on this one, because it's a huge model and we're like priming anyways. And also the thinning of the gray and white primer is around 2 parts primer and 1 part thinning sauce, unlike the black primer, which is 1:1. Now we push the contrast of our zenithal underpainting further by painting with white primer. We're painting mostly on the top areas and also like edges of the rock formations and stuff like that to create more volume. You could actually airbrush, or I mean dry brush this too, so that you create more like textures, but I just decided to continue with the airbrushing. I am still undecided on how to paint this model. If the model is mine, I would actually brush paint this model, perhaps with oil paints and stuff like that. But again, this is like a commission for Geekolodeon Studios, so I want the painting to be as efficient as I could. I don't want this to stay in my studio for like a month, so we're just painting it with the airbrush. Now we are done with the zenithal underpainting. As you can see, we could really see the muscle structure and the details of the model with very little effort. This is why zenithal underpainting is really nice. You could actually maximize this underpainting by painting transparent paints, inks, and even washes on top of this model, so that you maximize the values that you created during the zenithal underpainting. We also have the option of color glazing with the airbrush by mixing glaze medium with normal paints and then using the airbrush. And we also have the option of painting with oil paints. So do tell me at the comment section below on what do you think is the best way to paint this model. The next video will be the actual painting of this model, so do subscribe if you haven't already.
That's it, we're done. I hope you liked the video. Do like, comment, subscribe, and consider joining the channel so that you'll be part of our Discord community. Saludos!